Meet Marcus. Marcus is 32 years old. He makes $68,000 a year. Every single paycheck, he puts 6% into his 401k. His employer matches it, dollar for dollar, up to that 6%. Marcus has been doing this since he was 27. He feels good about it. He should. He's doing what every financial article, every HR onboarding packet, and every well-meaning coworker has told him to do. Now meet Dana. Dana is also 32. Same job, same $68,000 salary, same $400 a month she could put toward her future. But Dana doesn't have a 401k, or rather, she has access to one, and she's choosing not to use it. Instead, she's putting that same $400 a month into a taxable brokerage account. Index funds. Low cost, boring, consistent. Most people watching this already know who wins. It's Marcus, obviously. He's got the employer match, he's got the tax deferral, he's got decades of compounding on pre-tax dollars. Dana is paying taxes on her contributions up front and investing the remainder. Marcus is investing the full dollar before the government takes a cent. By the time they both hit 62, 30 years from now, Marcus has $847,000 in his 401k. Dana has $590,000 in her brokerage account. Marcus wins by $257,000. It's not even close. Except, we haven't run the real numbers yet. We'll come back to Marcus and Dana at the end of this video. And when we do, that $257,000 gap is going to look very different. Stick with me, because what I'm about to show you is the math that almost nobody who manages a 401k has ever actually sat down and calculated.
Let's start with what the 401k actually is. Not the marketing version, the mechanical version. A traditional 401k is a tax-deferred retirement account. You contribute pre-tax dollars. That money grows without being taxed each year. And when you withdraw it in retirement, you pay ordinary income tax on every single dollar you take out. That last part is the part that gets glossed over. Not capital gains tax, not the lower preferential rate the government gives investors who hold assets long-term. Ordinary income tax, the same rate you pay on your salary today, possibly higher depending on how much you've saved. Here's why that matters. Marcus is a disciplined saver. Over 30 years, his 401k grows to $847,000. At 62, he starts drawing it down. He needs $55,000 a year to live comfortably. That $55,000 comes out of his 401k and gets taxed as ordinary income. At his projected income level in retirement, Marcus sits in the 22% federal bracket. He also lives in a state with a 5% income tax. His effective total rate on those withdrawals is roughly 27%. So his $55,000 withdrawal actually costs him about $75,000 from the account, because he needs to pull $75,000 to net $55,000 after taxes. He doesn't have $847,000 in retirement money. He has $847,000 in pre-tax retirement money, and those are not the same thing. After taxes, his real spendable wealth, the number that actually buys groceries and pays rent, is closer to $618,000 in today's purchasing power. We'll come back to that number.
Now let's talk about something most people have never heard of until it's too late to do anything about it. Required minimum distributions. The IRS does not let you leave money in a 401k forever. Starting at age 73, the government requires you to withdraw a minimum amount every single year, whether you need the money or not. The formula is based on your account balance and your life expectancy table. It starts at roughly 3.7% of your balance and increases every year you get older. Why does this matter? Because it means Marcus doesn't get to control the timing of his taxes. Let's say Marcus has been careful. He retired at 62. He's been drawing down slowly, keeping his taxable income low. Smart strategy. Good tax management. Then he turns 73, and the government says, "You have $600,000 left in that account. You must withdraw at least $22,200 this year, whether you need it or not, whether it pushes you into a higher tax bracket or not." That forced income can push Marcus into a bracket he wasn't planning for. It can trigger higher Medicare premiums through something called IRMA, Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. It can make more of his Social Security benefits taxable. One number ripples into 3 or 4 other numbers, all of them working against him. This is what I mean when I say the 401k was not designed for you. It was designed by people who needed workers to save money and needed the government to eventually collect taxes on it. The tax deferral is real, the compounding is real, but the bill always comes due. And the timing of that bill is not entirely in your hands.
Let's go back to Dana. Dana put $400 a month into a taxable brokerage account for 30 years. She invested in a low-cost total market index fund. Expense ratio 0.03%. She paid taxes on her contributions up front, out of her take-home pay. She also paid taxes on dividends along the way, a small drag, roughly 0.4% annually on a fund yielding around 1.5%. After 30 years, Dana has $590,000 gross. But here's what's different about Dana's number. The growth inside her brokerage account, the capital gains, is taxed at the long-term capital gains rate, not ordinary income. For someone at Dana's income level in retirement, that rate is 15%, not 27%. When Dana withdraws $55,000 a year to live, the portion that represents her original contributions comes out completely tax-free. She already paid tax on it. Only the gains are taxed, and only at 15%. Her effective tax rate on withdrawals is closer to 9%. Dana's $590,000 gross translates to approximately $537,000 in real spendable wealth. Marcus's $847,000 gross translates to approximately $618,000 in real spendable wealth. Marcus still wins, but not by $257,000. He wins by $81,000, and suddenly that gap doesn't look nearly as impressive. But we're not done yet. Let's talk about fees. This is the variable most 401k articles skip entirely because it's uncomfortable and because it varies by employer. But it's real, and it moves the math significantly. The average expense ratio inside an employer-sponsored 401k plan is approximately 1.0% per year. Some plans are better. Large companies with negotiating power can get it down to 0.3% or 0.4%. Some plans are worse. Small business plans can run 1.5% to 2% annually. The median sits around 0.85% to 1%. Dana's index fund costs 0.03% per year. That difference, let's call it 0.9% annually, doesn't sound like much, but compounded over 30 years on a growing balance, it becomes very real money. At a 0.9% fee differential on an average balance of roughly $300,000 over the life of the account, Marcus has paid approximately $67,000 more in fund fees than Dana has over 30 years. Adjust Marcus's real spendable wealth downward by $67,000. Now, Marcus has roughly $551,000 in real spendable retirement wealth. Dana has $537,000. The gap is $14,000. Think about that for a second. Over 30 years of disciplined saving, two people with identical incomes, identical contribution amounts, and identical investment strategies end up within $14,000 of each other. Except one of them had the employer match, and the other didn't.
which brings us to the most important number in this entire video.
The employer match. Everything we've calculated. The tax drag, the RMD exposure, the fee differential. All of it brings Marcus and Dana to near parity. Without the employer match, Dana's taxable brokerage strategy is actually competitive with Marcus's 401k. But Marcus has the match. His employer contributes an additional $204 per month, the equivalent of Marcus's 6% contribution, free money, into Marcus's account. Over 30 years, that match alone, compounded at 7.2%, contributes an additional $226,000 to Marcus's gross balance. Even after taxes and fees, the after-tax value of that employer match is approximately $165,000. That is the real reason to use your 401k. Not the tax deferral, not the simplicity of payroll deduction, not the discipline of automated saving, though all of those are real benefits. The single most powerful argument for contributing to your 401k is the employer match. It is an immediate 100% return on your contribution. Nothing in personal finance competes with that.
Now, let me steelman the 401k fully, because it deserves a fair defense. Everything I've shown you assumes Marcus is in roughly the same tax bracket or a higher one in retirement than he is today. That's a reasonable assumption for disciplined savers. People who save enough to retire comfortably often generate enough retirement income to stay in a meaningful tax bracket. But it's not universal. If Marcus retires on significantly less income than he earned, if he lives modestly, moves to a no-income tax state, and keeps his withdrawals below the 12% bracket threshold, the tax deferral works powerfully in his favor. The math flips. Contributing to a traditional 401k when you're in a 22% or 24% bracket today and withdrawing in a 12% bracket tomorrow is genuinely excellent tax strategy. The tax deferral also has a compounding advantage that's easy to underestimate. Every dollar Marcus doesn't pay in taxes today stays invested and compounds for decades. The deferred tax is, in effect, an interest-free loan from the government that Marcus gets to invest. That has real value, especially early in a career when every dollar of compounding time matters most. And for people with genuine discipline problems, people who know they would spend the money if it weren't automatically deducted from their paycheck before they ever saw it, the 401k's structural lockup is a feature, not a bug. The 401k is not a bad account. It is a misunderstood account.
So here is the actual verdict. Not a general recommendation, a specific framework you can apply to your own situation. Rule 1. Always contribute enough to capture your full employer match. Every dollar of match is a 100% instant return. No fee, no tax rate, no market condition. Changes that math. Capture every cent of it. Rule 2. After the match, run your own numbers. If you expect to be in a lower tax bracket in retirement than you are today, contribute more to a traditional 401k. The tax deferral is working for you. But if you expect to be in the same tax bracket or a higher one, a Roth 401k or a Roth IRA deserves serious consideration. You pay taxes now at today's rate, and every dollar of future growth comes out tax-free, forever. Rule 3. Check your plan's expense ratios. Log into your 401k portal today. Find the expense ratios on every fund you're invested in. If the lowest cost option available to you is above 0.5%, you are paying a meaningful fee drag. In that situation, capture the full employer match first. Then ask whether additional dollars might be better deployed in a low-cost IRA that you control. Rule 4. The 401k is one tool, not the whole toolbox. For most people, the strongest retirement strategy combines multiple account types. A 401k up to the employer match, a Roth IRA up to the annual contribution limit, and a taxable brokerage account for anything beyond that. Because diversification is not only about investments, it is also about taxes. Spreading your savings across all three account types gives you flexibility in retirement. Flexibility that a single 401k can never provide.
Let's go back to Marcus one more time. Marcus did everything right. He contributed consistently. He captured his employer match. He didn't panic during market downturns. By every conventional measure, Marcus is a personal finance success story. But Marcus also never ran the full math. He never looked at the after-tax number. He never checked his expense ratios. He never thought about what required minimum distributions would do to his tax picture at age 73. He trusted the system he was handed and assumed the system was built to maximize his outcome. It wasn't built for that. The 401k was introduced in 1978. The provision that created it was a footnote in a tax bill. It was not designed as the primary retirement vehicle for the American workforce. It became that because pension plans were expensive for employers, and the 401k shifted the burden of retirement savings onto workers, while giving employers a much cheaper alternative. Understanding that doesn't mean you shouldn't use it. It means you should use it with your eyes open. You should know which part of the account is working for you, the match, and which part requires more careful thought.
Dana didn't beat Marcus. Marcus won, but by a much smaller margin than the headline number suggested, and only because of his employer match. Strip out the match, and 3 decades of disciplined saving in a 401k performs roughly on par with a simple taxable index fund account, once you account for tax treatment on the back end and the fees in the middle. That is the math nobody shows you. If this video made you look at your retirement account differently, that's the point. Subscribe to Real Number Theory. Every week, we take a financial decision most people think they understand, and we run the number all the way through. Not the headline, not the brochure figure, the real one. I'll see you in the next one.